Alright, I got permission for this one because I actually got a reply, so I can talk about this one. This little number is going to be about a friend of mine I've known since I was technically, I've known since I was like, how old was I? 5 when I knew this person existed. Turns out our parents knew each other, and our grandparents knew each other. I've known this person, it's like we're third generations of knowing each other here. This fabulous person that I haven't seen in an eon, but I know a lot about you. Her name is Anaya. So this one here is for, oh gee, all these years that I get to cough up all these details. And yes, she gave me permission so I can talk about all sorts of stuff. So let's get right to it. First thing was when we got to know each other. Well, she knew me and I knew her. That was about the extent of it. I moved up to Roaring Spring from Williamsburg. She ended up following afterwards for a very, very similar situation because my parents got divorced. So she ended up moving up, and then we met each other, and we kind of, next thing you know, we started a bit of an interest, and long story short, we kind of started dating. Well, into dating when I was 15, my first date was with her, and just to give you guys an idea, I had to have had to get a ride over to Martinsburg to see her for my first date. And the agreement with my mother was I wouldn't leave the Morrison's Cove Park. Well, I did. And it got taken back. I was on the back of her bike, and we could clear down to where her house is. And my irritable bowel flared up, and I was stuck in her bathroom for like 3 hours because I was so nervous. Not that anything was going to happen anyway. Turns out, after 4 years of dating, if you want to call it dating in high school, the whole, going together kind of thing, we realized we weren't exactly going to be together because we were both gay. Well, long story short, we come out of the closet, and everyone says, what happened in that relationship? I'm like, nothing. That's kind of what happened. I mean, I still like her and everything, wasn't like that, but we'd have a sexless marriage. We'd have to like get a petri dish and like, turkey baster to make pregnancy happen here. So, long story short, that never manifested. However, though, I will say she was the one who did take my virginity. It was a very weird scenario. That story entailed her bedroom out like in another town because she had moved. Like she moved 3 times in the time I've known her. Like from a dating prospect perspective. I'll get the word right. Anyway, we got out there and she goes, well, before you like declare to the world, I'm gay, why don't we try it? And I'm like, you want to try it? You really want to try it? She goes, well, at least if it doesn't work, no one's going to get offended, and I understand. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, you just want a piece. She just wants to be able to tell people, I took Ken Locker's virginity. Well, guess what happened? Well, we attempt this. Well, it was a big fiasco. It took, I had to talk about my high school crush for 45 minutes to get anything going on my end, if you catch my drift. But she was like, just waiting, looking at her fingernails, reading a red book, just kind of waiting for me to make up my mind. Well, what became out of that was a candle got involved, and she knows what I'm talking about. And we got there. We were attempting it. And, here I am, kind of like, guess who's here? And we were doing missionary style. Okay. Well, long story short, it was a little interesting because while I'm doing this act, if you will, all I could think of is, I am losing my virginity to a girl that I've known all my life, basically. Well, guess what? I didn't even get to, I did not see the fireworks. I did not hear a symphony. I didn't have a mint. But she didn't take it personally. It all worked out in the end, so to speak. But with all that going on, now I get up to the interesting stuff that makes things just all that more bubbly. Well, we were taking all these road trips at night. My mother will tell you. I took the road trips every time we were off work. We were going somewhere together. And we would always go weird places. Like we went to Gettysburg. We went to State College. I can't tell you how many times. And then the story about State College. And, someone's talking to me. And as far as road trips are concerned, I had my mom's car one night, and because I think I had wrecked mine, so I was out of car, so I was using hers, and we wound up in Williamsburg and went up this road and the battery had died. Well, we had to drift the car backwards. She had to get in it, and we're going down this back road, 1:30 in the morning, with all these people on their front porch watching a car go by. No engine. Therefore, there's no power steering. There's no brakes. I'm having pump brakes, and I'm manually steering this car to get into Williamsburg so she can call a friend of hers, who's a friend of her dad's, to come jump us. Battery. Jumped the battery. I ended up getting her home. I didn't make it home until like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to go get a battery to do this. It was ridiculous. But that's a little story. Well, all these night travels, we went to Pittsburgh Airport. And one night, we were going out that way. We went to my dad's house. We just get there. We just get there. And a cop pulls up. Me and my cop stories. And he gets out and walks up to me while I'm walking through my dad's yard. And he goes, "How you doing tonight?" I'm like, "Fine, I'm here to see my dad." He's like, "Can I see license?" I'm like, "Oh, sure." And I'll wait until the...
I have to blow my nose.
Well... Can't squeeze through. Oh, did you hear that? Do it again! Harder!
No.
Harder! I want to feel the force blowing through the door. That was a toilet. That was not blowing anything. Slide through. There you go. What the heck are you... No! You... He... Gravity works. Oh, God. This is your stuff, too.
Thank you.
Anyway, we went out and this cop looks at me, asked me for my driver's license. Apparently I look like the neighbor kid. Don't know how that... I never had seen this neighbor kid. Apparently I look like him. Well, when you know it, I'm like, "Do you want to see her driver's license too?" And it turns out the neighbor kid was out causing issues, and he thought I was him. And I'm like, "Nope, sorry, I'm from Pennsylvania, middle of the state. A little area called Altoona." So anyway, that was that little thing. She's like, "Really?" So we had that happen, and then we've had situations where we had a car accident where we actually had a telephone pole kind of sort of in reverse. And that involves my tumor story, which I'll get to that. I'm going to save that for the end. So, what's that noise?
It's the firehouse.
Oh, the whistle's going. Why don't you find out what it is?
What is this, scanner.com?
No. Oh, God. Go hit Blair EMS County. I'm gonna have to like edit this shit out of this. Anyway. I did not realize that that got repainted. Really? Look at that. See, I could never be a meteorologist. Like how they look at the screen and like can see where they're going. See, can I? Oh, wait, I can't do it. Ah, wait, that's so backwards. Oh. Whoops, still can't do it. Wait, I'm going too fast. Wait, that needs to... Oh, forget it. Anyway. What was I even saying? I lost my train of thought. What is it? Wait, story. Oh, I'll save the accent to the last. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. Back right with grad... Are you checking that out?
Mm-hmm.
No. What are you doing? Patiently waiting. You can't see my feet, but I'm like kind of dancing. Kind of, do that.
What the hell?
Yeah, hold on. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? You ever hear that thing?
Yeah.
But that's how they do that warm up thing. It's this,
You
and
really know how to shake your hips, don't you?
that's my mother's side, the Adams. Thanks for stealing.
Okay, Shakira.
Anyway, so where we're at? Okay, Blair Witch. When we were in high school, the Blair Witch Project came out. Okay, well, we went to go see it. Well, it's a whole rated R thing, and my sister was old enough. I was old enough, but Anaya was old enough. But her driver's license, it was something up with her. We had to go get her. We went to go get her to Bickle's. No, Dunkel Services. I'll get it right. I'm listening to his scanner thing, and he's doing whatever. Anyway, went to Dunkel Services to get the new IDs to go to the movie. Well, we get there, and we had to have your address form, your social security number, and like 3 forms of ID to get this. Birth certificate, social security card, and I forget what it was, but it's something else to prove it. Well, make a long story short, turns out the lady's like, well, Anaya's social security card, her mother took the last name because Anaya's last name really isn't what it is. It's actually Jake's. It's Canadian. Her mother scratched it out with a pen and wrote Lighty on it. We had to go up to the Social Security card office to get a new one. We go up to the Social Security Administration. It was up by Golders Woodshed at the time. I don't know if it's still up there or not. We go up there. We're sitting in an office, like a government office, trying to get this card taken care of. And we're sitting there, and a bunch of weirdos are there. And we're sitting there, and it's like all this to go to a movie. Well, we sit there. We're in the Social Security office. We're sitting there waiting. We go up there, and the lady, we actually had to call the DMV, and we were making phone calls, but we found out when she said, is this valid? And the lady at the DMV goes, honey, that's more legal than sin. So needless to say, we had to get another thing, and they had to wait for 2 weeks for a new card to come in. We went back to it, and Naya's like trying to tell the lady at Dunkel Services, look, I'm not tripping everybody off, that my last name's Lady, blah, 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 my mother scratched it up. The lady's like, I guess I'll let it slide. So she had to give us her card. We go the whole way over to go to this movie. We get in there, watch this movie now, and of course, halfway through it, we're all petrified, and got problems going on, and we go through it, we jump at the end, all that crap happens. We go home, of course, I take the Reservoir Road, to, like, go home, drop everybody off. Well, of course, on the way home, we're driving this road, and we get totally freaked out because my brain's primed for the Blair Witch. So, that was that thing, that to go with Anaya to a movie that we really want to see, take my sister, we wound up at Social Security Administration because we couldn't go to DMV because they were closed at that point, so we had to go to Dunkel Services, and then we wound up there to get the card to find out we couldn't get it in 2 weeks, so they come back to get the ID to go to see Blair Witch. That was that part. So, moving on. Then Anaya and I had to sing like the night stories that I have of driving around at night. We were on the way back, and we came in a couple times. It was like 4:30 in the morning, and her mother saw us pulling in, and Naya's like, my mom's gonna kill me. We go in there, and Mom's like, oh, hi. She goes, Naya, boy, you're out late. And she looked, and I come around the corner. She goes, who are you? Oh, you're with Kenny. Oh, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, what? And Naya's like, what do you mean? You know, what? She goes, you're with Kenny. I'm not worried about it. I said, what do you mean she's not worried about it? Because she goes, Kenny, you and her go do stuff all the time. You guys never get in trouble. Whatever, I'm not worried about it. 4 o'clock in the morning, Mom's getting up for work, and we just come trotting in the door. So, yay. And in the midst of that, one night we're coming home, it was late. And I'm going to tell you something, her little Cavalier could howl down the road. We're flying around, and I'm getting a little bit ticked at her at this point. Like, very ticked off. Because she's driving recklessly in the fog, and wasn't the most wonderful story about her, but we're flying around to the point where I held my tongue until we got to her driveway. Once we turned in, and she slowed down, turned in, I kind of went off on her, and I yelled at her about the fact that I said, we were going by some of these turns so sharp with the cornfields, I said, my God, I could have put my head out the window and got corn cobs planted in my nostrils, because how damn close we were. And her mom heard me yelling at her outside at like 4 a.m. We walk in, and Mom's like, "What's going on?" And she goes, "Kenny was yelling at me, blah, blah." She goes, "Oh, about what?" She goes, "Are you going to yell at Kenny for yelling at me?" She goes, "Nah, if he yells at you, there's probably a reason." So I told her, she goes, "Well, yeah, I have every reason to yell at you." So once she found out about the corn cob incident, so that was that. Now, moving on to something interesting is up when she was in state college. Good old state college. Oh, Lordy. We get up there, and we used to go to Players on Sunday night because it has alternative lifestyle night. in That's like the cue for the gay crowd to go wandering in. Well, anyway, we go in there, and there are a few nights that I really, really liked Bacardi Silver. They were wonderful. I had a few of Mike's Hard Lemonades, but I have a weak spot for Bacardis. So I had a few of those. We would dance, shake our tail feathers, get down bad self, kind of do the whole, that whole thing. So we were leaving, and she was with a girl named Michelle at the time, who actually was on me singing. That's the girl that sang with me at the place when I did karaoke. That's her. Well, they were together for a while, and we're up there, and I called Michelle to come get us. Because, well, actually, it was me that trip. Maybe, no, I think Michelle would get me and Nate both. Anyway, she goes pick us up. We walk out of Players. We have to, me and Anaya are like embraced because we're not walking straight. We're like, trying to walk along the sidewalk. And Michelle comes over, picks us up. No lie, we are going down, I think it's Atherton Street. We're only going 25. Like, we're only going 25. Guess how fast I swear we were going. I thought we were going like 80. And I'm like, Michelle, and I'm begging her to slow this car down. Like, I'm wasted. I admit it. I was quite intoxicated. And I saw for sure, because those of you know State College, there's an Arby's. Make a left turn to go towards Pizza Hut. Well, we're going down, but I begged her to slow this car down. I'm like, "You're going to roll us." No, she's like, "Hey, we're going 25 miles an hour. We're not going that fast." Well, I swear to God, we were going 80. Like, fast. Like, we were flying down this boulevard. Well, in addition to those, we get back to the apartment, and there was a few nights that Michelle, me and Anaya, and friend Julia, we all kind of got a little smashed one night. Well, in the process of that, Anaya and I wound up out on the balcony. And I have on videotape. But there were a few nights, and one night in particular, where Anaya and I wound up on the balcony. And I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I pulled up her shirt, no bra. Helga and Olga were right there. And I dumped wine cooler down over her girls. I'll keep it clean. And I threw up against plate glass window, and I'm smearing her body back and forth. Okay. Needless to say, that's on video, and I have it. It's in my possession. So, now you want to see what you look like, intoxicated, with Kenny nearby, smashing you against glass windows? I'm the man for the job for that one. So, that was that little stunt. And then we had a couple of things that had happened that were just weird. Like, I got so smashed one night. Yeah, I know this is the most colorful thing, but Anaya and I had this thing every time we get together, we'd end up drinking. A lot. We went through a lot of pucker. The watermelon pucker we went through, and the grape pucker. I think it was a peach pucker we did. And yeah, I wound up in the bathtub one time. I laid in it. I wound up outside the balcony, sitting wrapped up in blankets. And of course, I got out of their apartment. I'm wandering down the hallway, and I was not really going too good. I got on the elevator and started punching buttons to see where I went to. It's the funniest thing. You just go up and down, up and down. I kept going like 1, 7, 2, 5, 3, 4, and the elevator goes 1, 7, 2. It was kind of fun. That was me. So what else did we do? And then my vehicle got towed, and poor Michelle had to come after me to find where my vehicle went because I got towed the one night. It was my fault. I didn't call it in, and people across the street took it. And Michelle and I, early in the morning, going over there, find where this car is. Cost me $270 to get it back. Let me think what else. Oh, it's for vehicles. I'll probably think of other stuff as I'm going about here. However, we picked up a friend, Andrea. This was years ago. We go over to... I forget, we were all goofing off that night. We take Andrea home. We're going up the road, and we hit black ice. Car spun out. We're riding sideways, and the car somehow reversed itself, and it smashed into a telephone pole at 45 miles an hour. Well, we all lived. Andrea's head went out the back window and hit up telephone pole. In fact, her dad came down and he could pull her hair off the telephone pole. Me, I sucker punched myself at 45 miles an hour. I gave myself the only bloody nose I've ever had in my life. Anaya, she banged her knee off her steering column like thing, and we had to go to the hospital. Here's a story about I think I might have put the tumor one up there, but I'm going to say it again anyway. They put me on a gurney in the back of the ambulance, and this dude who was like 350, 400 pounder, his breath was like battery acid and phys ed. It was disgusting. He's right in my face taking my vitals. And I'm going, buddy, you dude, hello. And he's not listening to me. I'm like, I only have one eyeball. And he's like trying to make sure they're dilating with that little thick thing, little light thing they have. Of course the one's not going to dilate. It's porcelain. It was baked at 2,500 degrees. It's not going to dilate. And he wouldn't listen to me. I'm like, whatever, screw you. So we get to the hospital. I had to call my mother, had all that stuff taken care of. She shows up, and they come out and do this face x-ray for my nose to make sure I didn't break anything, you know. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I go in and they come out, and they're very serious. And I went, can I help you? And they're like, we have a little problem. Your nose isn't broke. In fact, there's not even stress marks in the cartilage. It looks like you never even hit yourself. I'm like, trust me, there's blood here. But we found something in your head. And I'm like, what do you mean you found something in my head? And he goes, you never felt anything, you know, odd? I'm like, no. She goes, well, we found a mass. We don't know what it is. I'm like, what? Yeah, we found it. I'm like, are you for real? They're like, yeah. I'm like, a mass. Like, yeah, it's a fair size. I was so upset. I'm already worked up over this accident that I lived through. And I have no broken bones, but there's a mass in my head that I'm not even aware of. So, what happens next? Well, we're going to take you and do like a bigger one and go over more forward. I'm like, alright, fine. My mom's trying to calm me down. And I'm like, oh my God. So, we get me to go back. And they're talking all about this thing, you know, and they're talking. I'm going, they said, worst part, you never felt anything? I'm like, no, it does. I don't feel any weight change in my face. And they're like, no, really, there's this thing. I'm like, are you for real? So, with that said, they're trying to get things prepped up for this. I can't believe this happened. We're going back through, and they said, yeah, it looks like it's doubling. Like, it's actually got a growth on the side of it. And they're, like, trying to explain it to me. And I said, what side of my head's this on? They went, your left side. I went, my left side. They're like, yeah, your left side. I'm like, I don't know. I'm really trying to be logical about this, and I try to, make reason and logic out of this. And I'm so worked up from living through a car accident. We had a telephone pole, and I have a nosebleed. I'm just, I'm trying to function here. And I'm like, okay, fine, we'll go. And everything happens for a reason. Try to be good about it. And I said, does it matter that I have a glass eye? And they just stopped and they all looked at me. I went, no, for real. I'm like, the paramedic didn't listen to me. I said, I tried telling him on the ambulance, I only have one eyeball. It's not going to dilate. But I said, he wouldn't even listen to me. And they looked at each other. I said, look, so we ended up doing is popping it out. Went and did another one. And they found out that that's what it was. So apparently you got to tell people about these glass eyeballs and things because apparently for whatever reason they don't exactly, believe you until you prove it. And like, yeah, you do it in your head. I'm thinking, I got cancer. And, then when I hear that, and turns out it's not cancer. Turns out it's my eyeball. Go me. So, but that was with Anaya too. So, just, Anaya, when she's around me, something's bound to happen. So, but I think I covered everything. The battery, the night drive, all the night drives. We've gone all over the place. We went places where we probably shouldn't have been. Trying to think of other stuff. We went to a haunted. In fact, where were we at? You and Michelle took me out to There's a place in State College I've been to once at 2 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't even tell you where it is, but it's out beyond God's knowledge, and it's out in this place where it was supposedly the story goes an old church is kind of boarded up, and there's a cemetery next to it. It's out in the middle of nowhere on this dirt road, and supposedly the preacher one day lost his cookies and killed everyone in the congregation and himself. I don't know where it is. I'm sure you do. You took me there. But I don't know where that. I'd like to find that place again. What else have we done? We've done some... Well, we went to Gettysburg and stopped. We had this thing of every night trip we would take. We'd go somewhere and I would end up, or she would end up, one of us would end up paying for a car wash. And stuff in her truck never outlasted the car wash. Like, that thing leaked like a sieve. She had her web TV thing back there, her winter treads in it, and the amount of stuff and the sprays. And cause you knew Anaya, you know, she's all about set, just spraying things everywhere. I mean, there's a fog that's like the perfume cloud that is her existence. And she always did smell nice. I'll give you that. You always did, not like flowery, perfumey 1980s like old lady thing. It was kind of a fresh, like I think Avon stuff you bought. It was like wild berries. I don't know. I liked it a lot actually, even despite the fact that I would know I have interest in her sexually. But she always had this really neat stuff she sprayed on herself. I think they still make it, but I don't know where the heck she bought it at. But I forget what it was. It was like this bottles to spray, little spritzer kind of thing, and it always smelled good. I just don't know where she bought it at. Probably like Walmart or something. I don't know. But was there anything else to add to that stuff? I'm trying to think what else there is. We've had some. We used to light that hand sanitizer on fire. And what else have I done with her? Do you remember, Anaya, the Mike Crotchley kid on the bus who'd take his lighter, put it in his mouth, and light it? Well, not light it, but he'd hold the gas open and fill his mouth with lighter fluid, and then flick it and go, and scare the shit out of little kids on the bus. But, what else did we do? We goofed off a lot. We did all kinds of weird stuff. She's the first girl I ever made out with, and first time we ever played tonsil hockey, I about gagged. I don't gag anymore. But, this story's about Anaya, not me. Moving on. What else? Oh, yes, and my light's on because I'm starting to get my sad syndrome already, so I gotta have a light on me. Because otherwise I would think someone takes the battery out of my back. What else do we do, Anaya? I'm trying to think what other things, weird things. We done some crazy stuff. Like, just... Oh! One night we were out at her place and we were making snickerdoodles. And we told everybody at school, like, oh, what'd you do last night, Ken? And like, over the weekend, oh, Anaya and I, we made cookies. And like, oh, is that what they're calling it now? I'm like, no, we didn't do anything. We hadn't yet. We did that stuff after high school. And then we realized it wasn't going to work anyway. So, but anyhow, girl, I think that's everything. I probably missed something along the way. Or the fact that your candle, which I already talked about. What else have I discussed already? About coming out in school. Blair Witch Project, you already know about that. Cornfields. I'm trying to think what else we did. I think like you, me, I think Michelle was with us when we stole that Pegasus sign out of that cornfield. Well, I stole it. We cut it up. You drove my Explorer. We went and did... we came up with Sharon off the one mountain, and I took out my sunroof, and you guys were taking turns standing outside of it, and I would get going like 85 miles an hour to come off the mountain, and it would just, we were going so fast that like your skin would ripple back. It was kind of cool. I mean, it was freezing. It was middle of July, 85 mile an hour was like freezing cold. So, but anyway, I'm closing in on a half hour, but that's all the stories that I can think of. I might have a part 2 because I've known you forever. I'm trying to think what anything else was to mention. I don't know. I'm sure there's something I missed. There's a lot of stuff I had to get out there. So, but anyway, thanks for approving me to do this because I do appreciate that immensely. So, in the meantime, I'm going to keep it under a half hour. Be good. I might have a part 2 for everybody watching this. So, meantime, take it easy. Be good. Toodles! See ya! Bye.